lot of suggestions when it comes to what you should bring with you when you travel, whether you're going to a place like Walt Disney World or wherever else you might be off to. I mean, chances are you've seen lists of must-haves, what's in my bags. I've done stuff like that before. They want to tell you what to bring, what to avoid bringing, but sometimes when you travel, especially when you travel a lot, you find yourself with this list of things that are non-negotiable. I don't care how difficult it is to travel with this stuff, I'm bringing it with me because it just makes my vacation, my travels, my experience overall a better one. And today, I'm gonna tell you what makes it onto my non-negotiable list. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, where we're gearing up for the second half of our day. But before we head out, I wanted to go through some of these things with you because I feel like this is one of those topics that doesn't get discussed enough. You know, everyone wants to limit how much they're bringing with them, bring only those must-have items, but you know, vacation is vacation and you gotta have stuff that just makes you happy and makes your life easier. So like I said, today we're talking about some of the things that make it onto my list, and right at the top of that list, a water bottle. Now, I'm normally not carrying this around. This is just one that I happen to have with me today. This is a Yeti, kind of looks like a Stanley. You guys know, right? We're in this moment where everyone has one of these. Whether I'm bringing this with me or some other type of insulated water bottle, I will go out of my way to bring a water bottle with me no matter where I'm traveling to. And this is because, number one, I like to be active. I like to go places and do things. Sometimes it's not always easy to get your hands on a bottle of water. This is true if you're visiting a place like Walt Disney World. You got the theme parks. Yeah, you can buy a $6 bottle of water, but who wants to waste their money on that? But you know, more often than not, especially if you're going to a place where you're going to be doing a lot of outdoorsy things, maybe doing some hiking. This was true when I traveled around Japan as well. I like to have a bottle that I can fill with ice. And if I do have a bubbler around, if I can fill it with, you know, a bottle of water that I purchase while I'm out, I can at least keep it colder longer. So that's non-negotiable. I don't care how annoying it is to carry around. People always say like, oh, water bottles, they're just an extra thing to carry. Totally worth it, at least in my opinion. Next up on the list, and I know that this is going to be one that like some of you are going to go, seriously? But yes, seriously. A grocery bag. One of these, like a plastic grocery bag. Now, first and foremost, plastic grocery bags, easy to get. Everyone probably has access to plastic grocery bags. They're easy to fold up nice and small. Generally, I kind of fold them up like this into a little tiny square. Just doing this quickly right now. Of course, I'm not really making a square or a rectangle, both shapes that I often go for. But like you see, this is so small, easy to carry with you. But here's why I always have this with me, okay? It's because sometimes I end up being in rooms like this one, where the air conditioning is on a motion sensor. And that means when you leave the room, the air conditioning turns off, and it's just so hard to get your room to a temperature that's comfortable, especially if you've been gone all day. So what I like to do is take one of these bad boys and open it up, tie it to something, and because it's so lightweight, also depending on how you set it up in the room, it moves with the breeze, creates that movement, and will help keep that air conditioning on all day. Now, here in this room, right now, I actually went a different route. This is another great alternative. I've got a little toilet paper streamer attached to this dresser, and it just keeps moving in the breeze, creates that movement so that the air conditioning stays on, and that is a huge help when you're traveling, and something that does not take any extra effort. It's really not like a whole to-do. You can just make sure that this is always in your bag. Also, having an extra bag is always nice for any number of reasons. Wet clothes, you know, maybe you need a bag. Generally speaking, I prefer to have like a folding reusable bag with me, but in a pinch, this works. It's easy to close up tight and just put in my bag. So yeah, plastic bag. I know, crazy, right? But it gets the job done. Now, I don't know about you, okay? But I like to start my day with a cup of coffee, and I want my coffee to be predictable. I want it to be delicious. I want it to be what I want. And that's why whenever I travel, I'm bringing not only some coffee, I have Cafe Bustelo with me today, although I have a few different coffees that I prefer. At home, I've got like 3 or 4 different bottles of instant coffee. And yes, instant coffee, quick, easy, take it with you easy, prepare it easy. Also, I definitely bring my coffee creamer and sweetener, or whatever the case of choice, and depending on the situation. So for example, today I have access to a car, so I even brought like a little kettle, an electric kettle with me. I do have a coffee maker in this room, but sometimes the coffee makers are just more trouble than they're worth. So I got a cheap electric kettle, just bring it with me, and no big deal. Now, this isn't gonna be an option that's for everyone, okay? Maybe you're not driving to your destination, you're flying, you're limited on space. Totally understand, totally get that. Been there many times. In that case, I'll get hot water some other way, maybe with the microwave, maybe I'll just make a pot of coffee with no coffee in it. Still bringing my coffee though. Still bringing my coffee and my coffee creamer. I may even stop at a local grocery store and pick up creamer and or coffee once I get here. So it all depends on your situation, but for me, this is non-negotiable. I always bring my coffee with me. I've even purchased a coffee pot on the road before. Yeah, it's true. I actually was in Colorado. I was going to be there for a good amount of time. I wanted coffee to start my day. I didn't want to have to wait for it. Purchased a cheap coffee pot that I could set it the night before. Golden. Golden. Changed everything. So that's another thing at the top of my list. Now, the very last thing on my list is going to be a power brick. I want to make sure that I can plug in all of my stuff in a place that I'm comfortable plugging it in. Now, the power brick that I have, which I know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't have it with me today. It just plugs into the wall, and then it has like 5 or 6 slots that I can plug USB into. This is a great way to go, especially because sometimes when you're traveling, there's an outlet, but it's just not in a convenient location, especially if you're plugging in expensive electronics. You don't want it on the floor, or, you know, sometimes you just don't want it where the plug is available, or you don't want to spread those electronics out throughout the room. This is a huge complaint that I have when I'm staying at some hotels. I like to stay organized by having all my stuff in one spot instead of having like my laptop over here, my camera over there, my extra battery over there. I don't want to deal with that. So having a power brick, a power charging station, whatever you want to call it, is the way to go, at least in my opinion. This is especially going to be true, by the way, for those of you who are visiting Walt Disney World and you have your Magic Band Plus. Maybe you have a family, you have multiple Magic Band Plus that you're going to be plugging in. Being able to do that all off of one outlet is like so easy. It's so much easier than going the route of having one plugged in here, one plugged in there. Also, if you have like a charging station like this, they tend to be a little bit bigger, but it's also a lot nicer than bringing a separate plug for each device that you have, especially if you're limited on space. So it might be bigger for that one thing, that one chunky thing, but each device won't have to have a chunky thing all its own. So I do find that that's really useful, especially if you're trying to limit the amount of stuff that you're taking with you. But yeah, those are some of the things that are on my list of things to pack, non-negotiable things. Of course, let me know what's on your list, whether it's convenient and cheap or not. Like I said, these aren't going to be practical for everybody, and everyone's list is going to be a little bit different, but tell me all about them in a comment down below. Also, do you agree with having some of these things? Have you even considered packing some of these things? Tell me about it. But all right, that's about all for now. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.